Kaylin, your abundance coach, and I like to help people be who they are, be authentic, and be unlimited. The reason I like to help them with that is because when you are who you truly are authentically, you can't help but being unlimited. Think about it. Authentically, you are connected to all these higher vibrating energies, such as abundance. So when you tap into who you really are, when you let everything you aren't flow away, then you're abundant and money comes your way, or anything else that you would like to experience in your life. In this video series, video 2, I'm going to help you take the rubber band theory from video 1 out of the pushing and pulling and into a place of just allowing. So if you haven't seen video 1, please be sure to look for it, because that's going to give you the setup so that you understand what we're talking about. So let's get started now. So the first thing that I want you to do actually is I want you to look at the many things that you want. And the more frankly that you want it, the better it is for this video. One of the things that we often do is we know we're not supposed to be short of a tantrum in wanting what we want. Demanding, those places that we get to emotionally where we're really sort of getting desperate because no matter what, it's like we don't seem to attract what we want. Like, why isn't law of attraction working for me? And the answer is because we're all over the place. But the problem that we often do is we take that all over the place, we take the wanting and we cover it up. We cover it up with, no, I'm good, it's all good. And we often make a fist in our own energy, holding ourselves in. Instead of wanting $25,000, which is ridiculous, right? How are you ever going to manifest that? Nothing comes to anyone for free. You have to work hard for everything in this life. You start to cover it up with all these beliefs, all of these justifications, all of the explanations why it'll never come. And you just try to bury the rubber band. If I can't see it anymore, it's not there. But the problem is, so many people walk around with a positive thought, with positive intentions, trying to be a good person kind of thing, perhaps even trying to be an abundant person. But they walk around all wound up like this, in one way or another, and if they're not wound up, it's something else, in which their energy is not really who they truly are. And law of attraction is responding to this. Also, law of attraction knows that that rubber band is there, that wad of energy that you're trying to hide. In other words, one of the greatest secrets to law of attraction that no one really exactly talks about is the fact that positive thoughts aren't going to do you any good. Because if you have an energy that's all wound up, you can be positive about it, but it doesn't matter. The secret is that the universe sees you. Law of attraction will still respond to whatever energy you really have going on. So if you want something, bring it out. Let's look at it, because now's the time to shift that. So that instead of pulling until either the rubber band breaks and hurts you, or you're exhausted, let's change it today. Let's shift this so that law of attraction is responding to something that's more authentic to us, that's more of who we prefer. Not all of this yanking, pulling, grasping, and other such energies. So, if you need to, pause the video right now, make a list. The longer the list, the better it'll be, because you're simply letting things open and release. You're loosening that fist first just by making that list. And I know when you're first making that list, and let's say your list sort of sounds like this. I want a house, I want a new car, I want $25,000. I want to meet the perfect person. It's like I want. I know that initially you're going to say, but Kaylin, all it does is make me want more. I know. And that's because that energy is so bound up. Of course it is. When you start to let it out, you notice the bound. I understand that, but work your way through it. Go ahead and let yourself want it. I know that you're going, but I don't want law of attraction to respond to that. It's true. That is not a good energy. And that's exactly why it's so important to open it up. Let it begin to flow. Because right now, that energy is active and law of attraction can see it. But by the time you are done with this process, or you've done it a few times, depending on how bound up your energy is going to be more fluid. And then law of attraction can respond to more of who you are, more of your open and allowing energy, as opposed to you continuing with all of these things that you want, that you're tightening up and you're squeezing into a corner so that you can't see them. Because you can't tell me that walking around like this for the next year or 5 or 10 is better than taking a few minutes, a few hours, however long it takes you to loosen up, and then let law of attraction respond to this for the rest of your life. So do you get that logic? Sort of a stitch in time is better than 9, or whatever that cliche is. You're better off loosening the strings now. Open up now. And no, it's not ideal energy, but letting everything flow. Getting into some freedom with your own energy, that's ideal energy, and that's going to last for you. So go ahead, pause the video now, and I'll wait for 1 second so you can pause it and make your list. If you only come up with one thing, I want $25,000 or whatever amount you're working with, that's fine. But if you have other things, go ahead and write them down. We'll be working with your monetary amount, but it's really good to get these things out in the open for yourself. So go ahead and pause the video now. All right, I'm back, and I hope that you have written your list down. So what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to decrease my amount from 25 to 5, just so that it sounds more attainable, because we all tend to have the belief that a smaller amount of money, like $5, sure, you know, I don't know if I can track that right away. It certainly won't just poof appear in my hand, but that's easier to come by than $25,000. While to the universe, the amount doesn't matter, because money is just an energy. You know, it just doesn't matter. It tends to matter to us. We tend to be more allowing of a smaller amount. And if you can just hear me play with $5,000, you certainly can make your way to 25, that kind of thing. So the amount's not so important, and I'm just going to use 5 so that it sounds a little more attainable to you, so that you can be a little more open with it. So here we go. Now, this is actually an extremely simple technique, but very powerful. And you'll know why now that you understand the rubber band theory. I want you to let yourself want and pull, and let yourself feel the I want $5,000. And you can follow it up with, and I want it now. That's fine. And frankly, the more you can let the come out, the better. Why? Because it's there anyway, and we're going to set it free. Because that is keeping us from really experiencing it. We're telling law of attraction, I want to feel this constriction. I want to feel this form of torture, this, why can't I have it? So let yourself feel it, acknowledge it, because it's a really important part of the golden flow system in which we welcome how we're really feeling. Otherwise, we can never tap into being really open and allowing. So let yourself want it. And then I want you for a second to just forget the rubber band. Just forget that you want it. I hope you already let yourself want it, and then for a minute, forget it. For a minute, I want you to just listen to me, and I want you to think about something totally different. If you'd like, you can notice my jewelry or whatever you want, but I want you to really take your focus off of the money. I want you to take a deep breath. Let yourself go for a minute. Let yourself take a nice breath, a nice deep breath again, where you're letting it all go. Because one thing that happens at that point is you're letting that energy go. Now, just by having acknowledged and brought that energy forward of the pull, of the wanting, now I want you to notice where you're at now with money. Because then when you let it go, what happens is we become a little looser, a little more comfortable. Do you still feel that same level of wanting? You might feel a tiny bit tired from it, granted, but you also might feel a release. Because tired or not, what happens is when we can really let it go, we have a release. And for the first time, perhaps maybe in a couple of days, maybe in your life, you're thinking about that $5,000 or whatever money, you're working with, and I'm just going to call it 5,000, for the first time, you might be letting it go. And that has a little bit of freedom. So let's do that again, because this is the trick to flowing. Every time you take a breath, you want to be in the flow. That means you really want to be in the flow for the rest of your life. Of course you do. Life is flow. Life is your breath. All of life is in the flow, and you want all of your life in the flow. That's the place and time you want law of attraction to bring what you want, always, every time you breathe. So let's try it again. And I'm not saying, by the way, that you have to flow the $5,000 for the rest of your life in every breath. Not at all. I'm saying that you're going to set yourself up to be in a far better flow, and then you can get yourself in the flow more and more. So let's do it again. Come back to that $5,000. I want $5,000, and I'd really like it now. That'd be nice. Be very nice. If you'll notice that I'm playing along, and I'm tapping into a little of my energy, but I'm playing along for the most part, and I'm leading what I know your experience is like. And it might be a little quicker than your experience, especially if you're really tightly wound, just sort of depending. So you can always play the video again. But did you notice that I didn't pull the rubber band as far? And did you notice that my statements are changing a little? Now look at your statement. Are you feeling a little less, if you want, get a rubber band. Do it for yourself with a rubber band. It's a great way to measure your own experience, to measure your own energy. Because if you let yourself, you'll let yourself go, I want it, and you'll let yourself also go, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, there's still some, yeah, I want it, yeah. So it'll help you measure it for yourself. But, so did you find that you're already a little looser? You're already not in as much of that push, where you're trying to push to make it happen, where you're grasping to make it happen. Are your statements changing some? And now, forget it. Just let it go. Take a breath. It's kind of really nice to just let it go and relax for a minute. It's a nice way to experience some freedom, because after acknowledging some of your own energy and some of how you really authentically feel, it's really nice to then authentically come back to yourself. That place of, you know what? It's all good right now, right? You're watching this video, so it's okay. Life's not horrible. If it's horrible, I don't think you're watching my video. So for a moment, acknowledge, and for a moment, just relax. How are you feeling now? So we've done it 2 times so far, and in a sec we'll do it again for you. But we've done it 2 times. We've let some of that jumbledness go. And frankly, you're probably already feeling a little more energized. I am. And I'm just sort of playing along with you. I'm doing it a little, but I'm really trying to set it up for you. I already feel a little more of a flow. I feel a little brighter, a little more, in a way, a little more awake. When you do flowing this way, one of the things that happens is often, if you really get into some good flowing, you sit down and do a flowing session with yourself, like you use our golden flow processes, one of the things that happens is things tend to get a little brighter. Your vision is a little brighter, and you tend to feel a little better, and life just get a little crisper. It's a natural byproduct, because that's what you naturally and authentically are. That's you getting a little more unlimited, right? Your black and white life, like from the movie Pleasantville. If you haven't seen that, 3 thumbs up, go watch that. Your black and white life is getting a little crisper. It's coming into color. It's getting passion. It's getting more life to it. And when that happens, that $5,000 is also coming closer, or whatever else is a part of your dream life. So let's do that one more time. Let's see if we can't get colors a little brighter and that 5,000 a little closer. So once again, now that we've let it go twice, let's go back to it. Where are you at with your $5,000? How much are you wanting it? Want it. Yeah, I want it. Of course I want it. What would I do with it? Ooh, I want it. Can you get a feel that your energy loosens, it changes? And one of the best things is you can go from a bitter feeling, because when we haven't had something we want for a while, it becomes bitter, sometimes painful, just sort of negative, old and stale, really. And we experience that as bitter. But when you loosen it up, you start to get into a little more of the fun of it. What would I do? In any case, wherever your energy's at now, let that rubber band go. And if you aren't using a rubber band, I should have thought of that at the beginning. I'm using a rubber band, you should be too. So if you don't have one, at least get yourself one so you can play with it. But now let's let it go. And just forget the money. For a minute, forget the money. I know it's a little corny, but you have you. For a minute, enjoy you. For a minute, enjoy a nice deep breath. We don't have to obsess about the money all of the time. We can take a breath. We can let it go. Because when we let it go, that's when we sleep better at night. That's when we're more open, we're more allowing. And that's also when we feel like it's more likely to come around, more likely to come to us. All right, so in this video, we have practiced feeling that want. And like I said, I hope you made a long list of the things you want. Go to the next one. Let yourself want a car or whatever it is that you want. And perhaps it's a list of things you want with the money. Great. Go through that list. Want it, and then let it go. Totally let it go. Now, you might tell me that you feel like you can't fully let it go, that even when you put the rubber band down, you still have that's fine. Acknowledge it. Go, I still have this. And then try to let it go. You'll get better at it. The thing is, when our energy is tangled and we're jumbled up in this, I want it, I can't have it, I want it, I still want it, I still can't have it. God, why can't I have it? She has it, why don't I have it? When we go through that, you ever experience that? It's amazing how your energy really does do that. And we jumble it up and we tighten it up and we tighten it up more, and I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm going to be good, and life's going to be good because it's not coming, so it's good. Tight. One of the things that happens is, just like our muscles can atrophy if we hold our muscles in one position and we don't let them flow, our energy can too. So if that's happening to you, no worries. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is do some more practicing, do some more flowing. Consciously do some more acknowledging of it. Oh, I have lipstick on. Otherwise you're going to be wearing lipstick. Oh, is it on?
Yeah.
I ran out of film memory, so I'll continue now. So I was saying if your energy is like that, and now I don't know where my rubber band is. If your energy is like that, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing getting in the flow. Getting in the flow really, really works, and it helps you effortlessly attract with law of attraction. Not only have I done it, as I've said, and attracted more than $25,000 3 times in my life, so I'm not saying, I did it once and it worked. It's worked. And that's only money. I've attracted a lot of other things, shifted a lot of things in my life by getting in the flow. And then it's effortless. You can't force the river, but you can effortlessly attract things. So it's really important to be aware of. It's also worked for me with people I have worked with. I had a student that I was working with because he still to this day even comes to meditation classes. And he also was working on attracting some money, and where at work he was supposed to have no bonus that Christmas because, the economy was being pretty tough a couple of years ago. Not only did he wind up with a bonus of a couple thousand, he also got a surprise Christmas gift of a couple thousand from his grandparents. So he attracted some money. And what you attract is really all relative to you. So depending on how you see yourself, if you think that you really can allow more, then more comes. If you feel smaller, then you don't, a smaller amount comes. So the more that you can really get yourself in a place of no rubber band, as apparently I have, the more you are going to be in a place where your energy is more fluid, and you will naturally attract, and you will naturally and effortlessly attract more. Law of attraction will bring you more when you allow more. So just be sure to keep practicing. You're totally, obviously able to re-watch the video and get yourself a rubber band. Help yourself monitor how much of a squeeze or grasp or pushing you have by letting yourself translate it into the rubber band. And if that doesn't work for you, find another way. I mean, maybe you can just sit down and ask yourself, because it's evident, it's there. It's harder to see when we hide it from ourselves, and a lot of times, a lot of us, we're taught to hide it from ourselves, or we learn to do that as a coping mechanism. And if that's the case, you just have to work with yourself a little more, and that's why the rubber band can be helpful. But you can find something else. I mean, the most important thing is to really let your energy start to go. Because for so many people, for the first time in years or decades or their life, when they work with me, it's all about letting go. Really getting in the flow of law of attraction means allowing. It means being open. It means having your energy open. It is an effortless place because you cannot make the universe do things for you, but you can certainly attract them. And when you see it that way, and when you start to get more clear, you recognize that you're not going to make anything happen, but you can attract anything that you want in your dream life. And there's why I like to help people be who they are, be authentic, and be unlimited. Thanks again for joining me. In video 3, we're going to go into another technique to help you out with the whole I want and help you attract that 5,000, 25,000, or whatever else, whatever monetary amount you're working on. So please join me in video 3 and be sure to subscribe or hit like to catch me in the next video. Thanks again. I'm Kaylin, your Abundance Coach.